According to Matchroom CEO and promoter Eddie Hearn, there are a number of different proposals and offers on the table to stage a fight between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, which are going to be presented to both camps at the end of this week. We're going to talk about that on this video. Welcome back to the channel, people. I hope you're all well. Of course, it's your boy Budge here, and you're now tuned into Talk to Budge. For those of you whose first time it is here, you're more than welcome. But before you enter, you need to wipe your feet. And by that I mean, you need to hit the like button, you need to hit the subscribe button, and you need to hit to sign up for all notifications. So whenever I drop a new video, you're the first to find out about it, which is daily. So every single day we're going to be dropping content. And just so that you're first to see it and watch and hear it, make sure you sign up for all notifications. Of course, we are building this platform from the ground up, from the grassroots, from scratch. And in order for me to build it, I need your support. I need your help. Thank you for tuning into this video, but I need you to share it with your friends. I need you to share it with your work colleagues, with your WhatsApp group chats, on Telegram. I need you to share it via email at work and all the rest of it, but get the word of Talk to Budge out. And ultimately, this platform has been established not just for me to speak and give my point of view, but for me to hear from you, from like-minded people who have an interest in boxing, who have an interest in sports. I want to hear from you. I want to know your perspective and your point of view. So let me know in the comments. Share your thoughts. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? So on and so forth. Whatever it is, I want to hear from you. So please do that in the comments. Now, the topic of this video is, of course, the long-awaited fight, a proposed fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. We've been speaking about it for a very, very long time. Even before Tyson Fury came back and won the WBC World Heavyweight title from Deontay Wilder, there was always talk about, at some point, AJ and Fury mixing it up, getting in the ring together to fight each other, right? We know that if we wind the clocks even further back, that a few years back, Tyson Fury won the unified championship from Vladimir Klitschko, who had reigned supreme over the heavyweight division for a number of years, I think almost a decade, him and his brother Vitaly. Tyson Fury went out to his backyard, boxed his ears off, and got the titles from him. Before then, which is of course well noted, suffering from depression, alcohol and drug abuse and whatnot, and was stripped of the titles, which then AJ went around like Thanos collecting, right? After his 16th fight for against Charles Martin for the IBF world title, he then went around and was collecting these belts one after the other, fighting top opposition in order to do so. And so naturally, after Tyson Fury came back, or there were rumors of him coming back, there was always going to be clamour or interest in a potential matchup between Fury and AJ, and obviously because also of the fact that both of them are British. So it is a brilliant opportunity to have an all British dust up, the likes that we've not seen before. You know, ultimately this is very easily going to be, if and when it does happen, the biggest UK fight of all time. You know, let's get that right. Let's get that straight. But anyway, talks have been ongoing for a very, very long time, and I'm sure I'm not the only fan who is growing a bit disillusioned and is growing a bit weary by all of the conversation and all of the back and forth and all of the supposed progress that's being made and the fact that there's 2 steps that are taken forward and 1 step back and all the rest of it, right? We're all growing weary of it. And ultimately, we just want to see the fight happen. We want to see the fight made. Now, Eddie Hearn previously came out, I believe it might have been a couple of weeks ago, and he spoke about the fact that both parties have signed their respective contracts in terms of what the splits are going to be, right? Of course, we know it's going to be huge. I mean, either way, there's going to be huge money made in this fight, right? For both fighters, for Matchroom and Eddie Hearn, for Sky Sports, or any of the other broadcasters that are going to be showcasing the fight, right? So we got that update a few weeks ago. Recently, this week, Eddie Hearn has come out and said that there are a number of potential offers that are on the table that are going to be presented to both the camps. Apparently, there are a number of different investors in different regions and locations who are willing to put down big money for the fight. And of course, why wouldn't they? Because it is an absolute huge fight and it's for undisputed. All the marbles, every single heavyweight title on the line. Who wouldn't be interested, right? And it was very, very interesting to see and hear some of the quotes that Eddie came out with when he was most recently interviewed. So he said, and I quote, "We're in a good place. I saw John Fury's comments. It's almost like they don't really want the fight. I'd like them to talk it up rather than talk it down. We're quite aware that there has been a global pandemic. We're quite aware that it's not easy, but we're out there grafting it away every day to get this done. A little bit of support would be nice, John and Tyson. Thank you very much." Like I said, there will be around 3 or 4 offers presented to both camps this weekend, and then it's over to them and the teams to discuss which one they want to take and the dates of those fights. Now, of course, there will be offers on the table from your traditional locations like UK, of course, and the US. Naturally, I'm sure there is a lot of money that can be made with that fight being staged in Vegas, for example. In terms of it being staged in the UK, of course, you could have that fight at Wembley. You could have that fight up in Cardiff, in Wales, and a few other locations in the UK, to be honest. And naturally, as fans, we would expect that fight should be made on UK soil because it's the biggest UK fight of all time, ultimately. However, putting our commercial hats on and looking at things more so from the perspective of what's going to drive most revenue or what is going to deliver the highest purses for those fighters, I feel like it's very, very hard. Whilst there hasn't been any confirmation on the locations or the regions and the investors that are putting these proposals together, it's very, very hard to look past the Middle East as the destination where this fight is going to take place. I should say and clarify that this fight most definitely will be a 2-fight deal. So what I imagine will happen is that the first fight will happen out in the Middle East, and then the return leg, the second fight, will happen on UK soil, is how I see it happening. But I think for the initial fight, my gut feel and how things have gone in terms of the fact that there has been more interest from overseas investors in that region previously, and the fact that there have been fights that have happened out there recently. Of course, Amir Khan fought Billy Dib out there, I think back in Saudi Arabia back in 2019, and of course AJ fought the second fight against Andy Ruiz out in Saudi Arabia as well. And so with that being said, I do feel like there is every chance that there is more of an interest in that area. And if we're looking at comparative figures and who is going to be fronting up the largest sums to stage that fight, I can't see any other location or any other region offering as much money in terms of site fees, in terms of purses for both fighters than the Middle East. You know, you've got places like Saudi Arabia, you've got Dubai, you've got Qatar. And if you think about it, these places in the Middle East their economies are largely driven by travel and tourism, right? Those sectors. And of course, the fact that, we've had a global pandemic and people haven't really been allowed to travel, certainly not in the scale and the volume that they would typically be used to, means that those economies would have taken a large hit because of the fact that, like I said, they're driven primarily by travel and tourism and people traveling out there. And so with the lockdown easing and the fact that there's every chance that there will be fans able to be in attendance for this particular fight when it does get made, what I see happening is these locations and these regions wanting to stage the fight as an opportunity to drive even more holiday goers out there, right? Ultimately, they're going to use it as an opportunity to sort of revive the travel and tourism sectors and drive interests, and it's ultimately going to be not just it's going to be the whole experience. It's not going to be just the fight in itself, but it's going to be showcasing everything else that these locations have to offer. And it's a brilliant opportunity for them. And ultimately, that's why I see that they're going to be fronting up more cash than anyone else and being a lot more aggressive in this space because of the perceived opportunity on a wider scale. It's not just about staging the fight and having a fight of that magnitude and that standard being staged in those regions. It's about the trickle effect. It's about the ancillary services around that that are going to be impacted, that are going to be helped and supported by the increased footfall, by the fact that there's going to be more people on the ground in those locations, more holiday goers and so on and so forth. So for that reason, if I was to nail my colours to the mast, I would say that first fight absolutely is going to happen somewhere in the Middle East. Like I said, it could be Saudi Arabia, it could be Dubai, it could be Qatar. But I just don't see, if we're looking at the money that they're going to front up, I don't see anywhere else being able to offer as much money potentially for that fight as those places. But we have to wait and see. Of course, Eddie Hearn did say that all of the proposals are going to be presented to both camps by this week. And then they're going to ultimately make their decision. So we should have a bit of an update or further news on this in the next couple of weeks, surely. Particularly if the appetite is for the first date to be around the sort of the July time. Of course, they'd need to get a move on with agreeing that date so the fighters can get into camp, and then all of the necessary planning can start to begin with. Having to build things and putting up the venue and stuff like that and all the rest of it. But at least it's interesting and positive signs to see that things are progressing. There is interest in this fight from investors. And it just means that we're one step closer. Even though we might still be quite some distance away from having a fight finalized, at least we're making positive steps and progress towards that fight being finalized. So let's wait and see. What do you think? If you had to nail your colours to the mast and decide on a potential location for that first fight, where do you think it happens? Do you think it happens in the Middle East? Or am I wrong? Do you think that it's more likely to happen in the UK or the US? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Leave it below. Let me hear your take on the matter. A reminder again, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. It's not going to cost you anything. It's free. Just hit the button. Do it now. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, sign up for all notifications, spread the word, share the video with your friends, and I'm going to catch you on the next video. Until then, Budge, over and out.